Hey everybody, this is Drunkonlife, but you can call me Drunk for short. And today I'm going to go over a mod. It's a Super Survivors mod. Now I'm going to be real honest with you. When I bought this game, probably I want to say 5 years ago, this is actually still in alpha. They just added cars, but they promised NPCs, and this is the whole reason why I bought this game. Waiting for a chance to, like, you know, basically have a storyline where you have like several different, I don't know, like several different other people that are part of your community, as well as like some enemies that are NPCs that aren't zombies, and having to deal with that. But they haven't come out yet, so I decided that I was going to try out this new mod. I guess it's new to me. It's called Super Survivors, and I'm going to show you a little bit about what is going on with it. Let's see, where do I want to find? Okay, we'll go to options first. Okay, so the first thing that you can see, they added, once you download this mod, it adds this little tab. It's Super Survivors, and it gives you like all sorts of different things that you can kind of adjust to your own thing, like the spawn rate, which is normal, a chance to spawn with gun, which I've made it fairly low. Raiders event guaranteed every this many days. So every 20 days I have a Raider event that might occur. Now I will say this, these survivors, they can be good. They might want to join you. They might not want to join you and still be okay, or they could be hostile to you. And I've had a couple instances where I've actually had to deal with these raiders, and each time I've lost because I didn't know what the heck was going on before I was finished. Okay, but anyway, raiders start spawning after this many days. I have them starting immediately. Chance for random raiders to spawn is normal. They have a 5% chance to spawn with a melee weapon as well. And there's a 20% chance for them to be hostile. There's a max chance to be hostile over time. There's 80% chance. So that's as the time continues on and people become more and more desperate, these raiders will become more hostile towards you. Ready for battle mode? I don't know what that is. I'm not real sure what that is. I've yet to find that out. Wife and husband spawn. This is interesting because when you first start out, you can actually start out with your own like NPC that's with you. I turned it to off because this particular playthrough that I'm playing, it was not necessary. He's an engineer. Survival friendliness is normal, but you can actually set it to friendly, normal, very friendly, desperate for human contact, mean or very mean. Survivor bravery, that's another thing. And you know, it's really interesting because like your survivors, these NPCs will act differently when they're meet a threat. Some of them will turn around and run. Some of them will fight very hard. Some of them will fight for a second and then back off. And that can be very dangerous because you can be thinking that your person right next to you is fighting like they should, and then suddenly they've backed off and you're like stuck in a horde by yourself. Survivor infinite info, or ammo rather. I actually turned this off. If on survivors do not need ammo to use guns. I feel like I want it to be like a more true representation, but you can always turn it on and then your survivors will always have ammo and they'll be able to take things down. Survivors auto-based tactics that we'll actually go over this because this is where it starts to get more interesting. Survivor hunger and thirst, it's on. And then there's these action keys, which I have yet to figure out, to be honest with you, but that's pretty much it. We can accept that. Now we'll move on into the actual gameplay, and I'll show you a little bit of how it works. Okay, so let's go and find us a survivor to kind of mess with here. Shouldn't look too hard because I have a lot of them. I have 4 right now. It's dark. Okay, here's one. Okay, to actually get them to respond to you, you have to right click. Like for instance, I'm gonna do right here, and I have a choice of Farmer Nick, and I can call him over, or I can do a medical check. We'll do a medical check first, just so you can see. But these guys can actually get bit, they can get hurt, they can die, they can become infected as well. I've actually run into one where someone got bit, and they were starting to feel queasy, and I literally either had the choice to either wait for them to die and to deal with it, or not deal with it at all. Okay, so the survivor options, it's a call to arms. I suggest that when you first start coming out, if you're using these survivors, is to actually have them always use melee weapons. If they have a gun, they're going to use it. And, you know, as you know, in a zombie apocalypse, guns can be very, very dangerous as far as everything. Okay, so I'm gonna call Farmer Nick over, and I'm gonna right-click him again, and this is where I can actually do stuff. I can actually give him an order. I can swap melee weapons with him. This is the only way that they're going to get melee weapons, by the way. I can offer him food, and in this case, I could offer him food if he said he was hungry, or if for instance he didn't want to join my group, I could actually bribe him with food or water. I've used survivor info. So each survivor has their own list of things that they're good at. For instance, this guy, Farmer Nick, he has a level 6 of farming, so he is a extremely incredible asset if you want to do farming. 2 fitness level, light-footed. It shows his primary weapon, and if he has a secondary or if he has a gun, all of this stuff. His group role will be a farmer, and he's pretty good. Now, each of these survivors, all the survivors that you can accumulate, are going to each have something different that's going to be like there are going to be some people that are naturally really good with fighters. As fighters, there are going to be some people that might be a mechanic. Might be all sorts of different things. Okay, so let's call him over again. Okay, so another interesting thing that you can do, okay, is you can give him an order. And as you can see, there's all sorts of stuff you can do. Now, I could ask him to doctor, for instance, right? And because he doesn't have like a first aid skill, he won't do it. He'll just say, I can't do it. I won't, I don't have the knowledge for it. But if I told him to farm, for instance, then he would go out and farm. And there is no farming area designated, so I'm going to have to designate a farming area first before I can actually have him farm. But as you can see, there's all sorts of stuff you can have them do. You can have them hold them still while you're trying to bandage them up. You can ask them to patrol, stand ground, stop. You can dismiss them, relax, return to base, pile corpses. So there's all sorts of stuff that you can do once you actually they become part of your community. Okay, for example, right now I just asked Farmer Nick. I set this area up to be a source for farming, and he's going ahead and he's planting seeds and he's watering and he's doing everything that he needs to do to start building the farm. So, in other words, it's a little bit more realistic in terms of getting a community started. It's not going to be just totally reliant on one person. That just doesn't make any sense, right? So I have him doing this now. So you can actually assign different people to task, and they can actually do stuff for you. Okay, so we know now that you can actually assign people different tasks for whatever you're trying to do, so you can build a compound fairly quick. Now, as far as like construction, that's up to you. There are other things that you can do as well. These super survivors are kind of independent, to be real honest. When they're not going out with you, when you're not telling them to follow you and to do things, they will kind of do whatever they do. For instance, if there is no food and they're hungry, they may actually go out looking for food on their own, which is pretty nice. I mean, and it makes sense. I mean, if you're hungry and you want to do something, and my guy needs water, so I'm gonna give him quick. Then it makes sense that someone can do. Now another thing that you can do is you can actually call them over, and once again, that's just basically right-clicking. I gotta find them. They just move around like crazy. Brian, we'll call him over. This is what do you want? When they do go out and they get stuff, you can actually give them the order to actually clear their inventory. And when they do, this stuff drops on the ground. Like for instance, let's see what he had. He had empty pop bottle, he had a broken fork, a hammer, and ripped sheets. So that's pretty much it. I mean, it makes for a much more interesting gameplay, especially if you're playing on something like hardcore. And you can actually build a community. Now, I have yet to meet like a group of actual raiders that have come in and tried to take out my people. I have had one group that came in and killed my people, but it was early game, and I was just more stunned than anything. He was bringing a whole horde of zombies with him, and he was using a gun, so there was no shot. Anyway, my name's Drunkonlife. You can call me Drunk for short. And if you like this video or if you like this game, please hit the thumbs up button, smash it real hard and real good. And you can also subscribe to my channel. I do play a lot of Project Zomboid. I have a series going on currently at this time that you can check out. And if you'll hit that bell, it'll tell you whenever I post something new. So anyway, my name's Drunkonlife. You can catch me here or at twitch.tv/Drunkonlife for my live streams. I'll talk to you guys later.